So, what is search engine optimization? Everybody hears the buzzword SEO. It's out there, it's around, everybody wants it, everyone's offering those services. But basically, SEO is a very cost effective digital marketing channel that fits with a budget of a small or medium scale business, in that you don't have to have a huge budget pumping into paid advertising to get results. So it's perfect for a small SME. You can compete with large corporations if you get these fundamental steps right. So what are the 8 layman steps for SEO success? Number 1, keyword research. 2, on-page SEO. 3, technical SEO. 4, content creation and linkable assets. 5, content marketing. 6, social SEO activities. 7, link building. And 8, data analytics. And we're going to take you through each of those steps right now and explain exactly what's involved with each of them.
First is keyword research. There are many benefits to performing keyword research aside from identifying the terms and words that will help you build relationships with your targeted audiences. It puts your site in good standing with search engines by using keyword phrases that fits well and is relevant to your main content.
So I think different from keyword stuffing, where you're trying to fit a specific keyword into content, it's all about using these keywords naturally and organically throughout your content.
That's right. Doing research can also help you to identify traffic generators that deliver a good flow of targeted traffic instead of using poorly researched keywords that deliver poor results.
So I think a lot of times people can get stuck on using certain keywords, but they don't actually even know where they've come from. Perhaps an agency has sent through a list of keywords that you think you might like to rank for, but they are pointless unless they have monthly search volume, which means people are typing in the Google navbar each day, each month for that specific phrase. Are there people even searching that keyword? If they're not, why are you trying to rank for it?
As a small business owner, you also need to understand the 3 categories that can help you get a better understanding of your keyword research.
So there's 3 different types of keywords that can be targeted. Head keywords, which is the top level keywords. So they're the broad single term keywords that are highly competitive, but they also have high search volume. So if you're perhaps have a baby business, these are the keywords that are baby clothes or designer baby clothes. Lots of people are trying to rank for these head keywords, but they also have high search volume, which is why it's important that you intermingle these head keywords with the other types of keywords,
such as body keywords composed of 2 or 3 keyword phrases, lesser competition because of moderate search volume.
So something like a head keyword could potentially have monthly search volumes of around 2,000 a month. Something like a body keyword with the 2 or 3 keyword phrases, you can drop to maybe numbers of about 500 searches monthly, which is still really, really good search volume. So it might not be that 2,000, but 500 means that 500 people are still searching that keyword, and probably it's less competitive. Now, the second fundamental step to good SEO is on-page SEO. And again, probably you've heard this term on-page SEO versus off-page SEO. On-page SEO is all of the elements that you can control on your site. The content, the images, everything that's on your website. Off-page SEO typically refers to link building, anything that you can do externally to help your website rank in Google. So let's talk about on-page SEO. So there's a few on-page SEO considerations that are extremely important. The first being your meta title, and that basically tells search engines and site visitors what your site is all about. So Hayley, it's a little description that appears in Google when you type in a keyword and results come up. So it's extremely important that you make sure that that meta title is firstly populated, because a lot of people forget to even populate it. But secondly, that it's utilizing some of your keywords from our first point.
So where do you generally update your meta title on your website?
So if you have a WordPress site, you can actually do that directly from the WordPress CMS, particularly if you install a handy little plugin called Yoast plugin. So you're able to update page titles directly from that plugin. Or if you don't have access to your CMS and perhaps a WordPress developer or another developer has built your website, you can simply ask them to go into the code and update it for you. So it may be that you have to reach out and ask for that help, but it's certainly worthwhile because it's how Google renders and reads your site. The next part of on-page SEO is the meta description. So that's just as important as the meta title, but for very different reasons. So the meta description actually isn't read by Google, but it's read by users. So users will want something really enticing written there to make them click through to your website. So it's important to also use your keywords, but keep in mind that Google actually can't read the keywords in meta descriptions. So write that direct for your audience.
So is that when you type in a URL into, say, Google and the little intro comes up?
That's it. It's a little introduction text. And there's also specific character counts that should be adhered to. Otherwise, Google will actually cut off the meta description text and make it look truncated and messy. So the typical character count for meta description is about 140 characters.
And can Yoast give you those guidelines and let you know when you're up to those characters?
Yoast definitely does. So
great.
It will give you a red signal if you're over or under the word count. And then you'll start to see the green signal when you're hitting those benchmarks and you've got the character count right. So it's a very handy tool. The next part of on-page SEO is schema markup tags. Now, this is where we're kind of delving a little bit deeper into developer territory. But basically, this is some more markup language that you can ask your developer to use on your website to help Google recognize your content. And that's basically what we're doing here. The technical aspect of the way that we read a website as users and the way that Google interprets that website is quite different. And you need to give Google as many signals as possible on how to read your website. The same goes for open graph tags and Twitter cards. The most important part is definitely the H tags though, Hayley, and they form part of the page title. These are the direct pieces of content that Google is reading. So every website should have a page title, but beyond that, that page title should be wrapped in H1 tags. Now, this is getting maybe a little bit complicated, but what I'm wanting to do here is introduce you to the idea that these things must be present on your website. The same goes with your image alt tags. You might call your image something specific like baby booties, but you also need to have a specific alt image tag directly for Google. Google can't see what you have called your image, so you need to add in that special markup tags to let Google know exactly what that image is about, baby booties.
So whatever you do, you don't want to just upload the image and just leave the title as is. You want to go to that extra effort of
adding
making
the alt image tags.
Right.
100%. And again, this is something that you can do pretty easily in back-end WordPress, but something that you could maybe get someone that's more technical to assist you with, like your developer. The next thing is your sitemap. And that really is the directory that you submit to Google to help Google understand your website. So it's a list of all the different URLs and pages that, encompasses your whole website. To do that, you actually have to set up a Google Search Console. So it's very easy to sign up and you generate your sitemap and submit it. The sitemap that you generate is typically dynamic, which means you don't have to resubmit it every time you release a new page, but Google will automatically get the updated version and be able to understand new pages that you release and how to read that content. So it's very, very important. Google will pick up your site regardless, but this is actually telling Google, these are the pages that I want you to actually look at. And also you can include pages that you don't want Google to look at, so you can actually call them out Maybe if you have a membership website and there's some content that's behind a gateway that you don't want Google to be picking up.
So, are there any handy plugins to make it easier to send a sitemap to Google?
So again, Yoast, they have
Okay.
a simple sitemap generator, or if you go into the plugin section of WordPress, you can just type in sitemap generator and you'll find, so what you're looking for is an XML sitemap to be generated. And it's simply a link, normally it's .xml, and you take that link and you add it into the Google Search Console that you've set up. So it sounds complicated, but again, flagging with you that the sitemap is really, really important. You can have all your keywords optimized or, included in your blog articles, but if your website doesn't have a sitemap generated and submitted to the Google Search Console, you're a couple of steps behind. The last thing is a duplicate content check. So it's very tempting in the world where it's difficult to create lots and lots of content and to populate your website to just grab something that you've used before and reposted it, or even grab something from another person's site, which obviously is a big no-no, but also Google really, really doesn't like that. So Google will actually flag your site if you have duplicate content appearing. So there's lots of different ways for you to be able to check that. Again, lots of tools. I like to use a program called Moz, which will basically, you can input your URL of your website and it will alert you of any duplicate content that you have showing on pages. And not just the body copy, but also page titles and meta descriptions. So it just double checks to make sure that, you haven't gotten lazy and added the same paragraph to multiple pages. You have the opportunity to go in and change that text around and give Google something new and fresh that Google deserves.
Lesson number 3 is on technical SEO. So as a web developer, these are regular issues that I have to be very much mindful of. So technical page elements that affect SEO but are only detectable by looking at the source code. So these include...
So these are definitely things that you wouldn't know you're having issues with unless you have a developer or you've taken a masterclass like this and aware of these things, because a layperson can't see it on the front end looking at the content.
That's right. So really an education into these items are imperative. So the first one we'll go over is IP detection and redirection. So content shown according to visitors' geographical location can be performed using IP detection and redirection. The second is website speed. So site speed is very important. You need a zippy fast website as it can benefit you indirectly by the user remaining on your site longer. So there's nothing worse than a slow website where images take a very long time to load. A fast website is also dependent on the size of your images. So the smaller the better, but also crystal clear quality. There are some super handy tools to ensure your images are the right size, so to improve your site speed.
Great. So basically what you're saying there is that Google likes whatever a user likes. So if a user arrives on a slow, sluggish website, Google's not going to like that either. So the faster the website, the better. And Hayley, are there ways that you can test your site speed?
Yes, there's a developer tool. It's called
Develop site speed test.
Developer site speed test.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so it can ensure you can actually test your site to see how well it's performing. And there's a couple of handy tools that you can use, such as the WordPress smushing tool. So you can predefine the size of your images and ensure that they are the right size every time that you load them, and you can ensure that your pages are loading correctly and zippy.
Cool. And so the site speed test will give you a score. So, something that's maybe a bit sluggish is 60 and under. If you're performing, 60 and above, you're doing a pretty good job and you shouldn't be penalized, by Google for that.
That's right.
Cool.
Okay, so the next is 301 and 302 redirects. So a 301 redirect means that the page is permanently moved to a new location. A 302 redirect means that the move is only temporary. So search engines need to figure out whether to keep the old page or replace it with the new one found at the new location. A 302 redirect will tell the search engines that the redirect is not a permanent thing.
Right. So you want to use less 302 redirects and make sure that if something is a permanent redirect, you're using 301.
That's right.
What would be an example of using a 301 redirect in place effectively?
So you want to have,
a homepage. We can just cut that one. So some examples of best use cases of 301 and 302, I guess to make sure, always do the check whether or not this content is a permanent move. If it is, then you definitely should be using a 301 redirect. For example, if you've purchased multiple URLs or domains for your business, so obviously you might have the .com version or you might have a different variation of your business name, simply to pick whatever is your main website and redirect all those other URLs back to that main website. The redirection that you should be using there is 100% certain 301 redirect. And again, Hayley, that's something that you might not know because your webmaster has set it up for you. So it's about being aware and making sure that the right redirect is used at the right time. And Google's not penalizing you for redirecting with a temporary code when it can tell it's a permanent redirection. So next up.
So next up we have the HTTP headers. So there are several status codes available, so it's important to have a clear understanding of how it can impact your SEO performance. So some examples of these HTTP headers include when you load a page and then you find that there's a 404 page not found.
So that's something that people see quite a bit.
Yeah, you want to avoid as many of these as possible. Another example could be a 302 temporarily moved error message,
which is the 302 redirect we just spoke about. So
that's right.
You want to make sure that it really is temporary and you're going to be bringing that content back.
That's right. And from a user perspective, you don't want to have these on your site. So if you get these broken pages, users might just click right on off.
Totally.
Yeah.
And how about also like a 500 internal server error? That's something that maybe you have less control over, except when you're starting out and you're choosing your hosting and you're choosing who's serving up your website. So
that's right. You want to ensure that you have a reliable host with minimal outages, and so it's important to pick the right hosting solution from the start.
So that can solve kind of a lot of these errors, which Google looks at as signals for SEO later down the track.
That's right. So are there some important tools that you can use to check whether you have these errors?
I don't know. So the fourth point is content creation and linkable assets. So I think, again, there's a lot that's been said about link building and what should and shouldn't happen. Old SEO was about getting as many links as possible, which is why people would typically, submit their business to as many directories as possible to get the link back to their site. But now it's shifted to quality links. So the old saying, quality over quantity. And it's about how do you get some really good quality links linking back to your website. And a lot of that is all based around content creation and the awesome content that you create to get a link back to your site. So to explain it, I guess, in layman's terms, every website is assigned a domain authority score. So when you're just starting out and launching your website, your domain authority will be a 0. Over time, as you do a lot of the things that Google likes that we've already discussed, it will slowly update your score. So a good functioning website normally sits around the 20 mark. What you want to do is get some links from sites that have a higher domain authority than what you have. So if you have a 20, you're looking at websites and trying to attract links from websites that have a domain authority above 20. To do that is to obviously do a bit of outreach and to show them that you have really great content that they want to link to. So I guess, Hayley, there's some different types of content that can be created and some that more other websites.
So this can be done by first up creating some really good quality pieces of content on your website, say through your blog. So some great pieces of content are how-tos. You could create some curated lists, some infographics, and the key is to reach out to those websites with a higher domain authority than you and show that you have some really great pieces of content and so they can link back to your site.
Definitely. And I think if you try and create content that's what's called evergreen as well, that's really, really appealing to other businesses because they know that your content won't date. So evergreen basically means that you can read that content in 5 years' time and it still be relevant. So that cuts out kind of a lot of trends and that type of articles, but there's also a lot of topics that you can approach with more universal appeal. That's going to be attractive to someone that's looking for content because they know that they don't have to come back and continue to update it. So basically, creating good content will attract some really valuable leads for you. And it's all about that outreach and, going after those websites with a high domain authority and approaching them with really, really good pieces of strong content.
So it might take a bit of time to research those with a higher domain authority and to create content that, that is evergreen, but it's well worth it.
Definitely. And I think we can get really focused with writing content specifically for your website, your own website with the targeted keywords. But, link building is a huge, huge, huge piece of SEO. So it's also important to dedicate some time to this, creating content for other businesses.
Content marketing. So up to 60% of digital marketers in the B2B market use content marketing for promotion and lead generation. So small businesses can follow suit and use innovative but cost-effective content promotion strategies to deliver their message. So some of these include, say, blogs. So posting, would you believe, only 1 to 2 blogs a month can generate 70% more leads compared to businesses with no blogs.
That's a lot. So that's why there's so many blogs out there, because Google is valuing the fresh content and regular posting of that content.
It's well worth the time and effort.
Totally. And so I think that there's a lot, again, out there about how often you should be posting on your blog and how many words the blog article should be. Back in the old days, it used to be, minimum of 400 words. But now, if you write something a bit longer and don't write as regularly, Google really values that. So people are posting articles that are like 1,000 words. Is that, lots?
That's right. So 1 to 2 months is doable and manageable.
And also rich in, multimedia. So not just copy, which I think you typically think that a blog article is just text, but images and...
That's right, video.
Right.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, and don't forget to put your relevant keywords in there. And 1,000 words sounds like a lot, but if you chunk it up, it's doable.
So typically people read blog articles in a different way than they do offline. So if they're reading like a magazine, so you should be chunking it up with subheadings.
That's right.
And making sure that there are lots of images. So it makes that word count and also the length of that article really doable.
That's right.
And what sort of things can you write? I mean, that's obviously how long is a piece of string, depending on your vertical and the audience you're targeting. But what are some common go-tos for content production?
Yeah, you can actually educate your audience on your industry, and you could also do what's latest, like the current trends that are running.
Via like a white paper, downloadable, to make it a bit interesting.
Yeah, or even like an infographic,
And we touched on before about video marketing as well. So you can even just produce like straight up videos, and there's some great software out there to do that. So I guess content creation for your own website is far beyond just copy on a page these days.
Yeah.
There's lots of different ways and programs like Canva.
That's right. Yeah, Canva
can create cool assets to accompany blog articles, jazz it up a little bit with an image. And that kind of touches on, we'll touch on our 6th point about distributing that content once you've created it. And at the end of the day, Google is a hungry beast and you need to feed him with lots of content. So dedicating time to that is huge, huge, huge for SEO. So number 6 is all about social SEO activities. Now, social just in general is a really, really hard channel to attribute, leads and direct customers from. And it's the same with SEO. Like, what exactly does social, how does it boost your SEO? We do know that it does. Google themselves have let us know that. And as Google makes more and more updates, I really do think that there's going to be a heavier focus on SEO and SEO signals.
So once you've written a piece of content, you want to be able to share it as much as possible through your social media platforms such as Facebook and Instagram and Pinterest, and really maximize that content so it gets across as many eyes as possible and people start to engage with you.
So basically, you wanted to create a steady stream of organic links and engagement on social. And if you have built up your social channels correctly, so your Instagram, your Facebook, that should be a direct link to your targeted audience. They're followers, they're following you because they're engaged with your brand. You want to make sure that then you get them back on site and following those links with the content that you've shared. So I think, as you said, it's really important to make sure that you're continuing to interact with them. It may seem like, how does me responding to someone's comment on Facebook impact where I rank for my website in Google? But these are all factors. All factors. Engagement is a huge factor that Google looks at for SEO. So you engage with them on Facebook, they come back to your site, they share your link, and it has a huge indirect effect on SEO. Another great way to get, obviously, then your followers to engage with your content is to give value. So you make sure that you're offering lots.
That's right. And you can offer, free pieces of content in your engaged audience. And
yeah, and I think making sure that you have a well-oiled machine, because social media, as everybody knows, can be extremely time-consuming. So, Hayley, there's a couple of platforms that we recommend for content distribution.
yeah, such as Hootsuite and CoSchedule, and many of them are for free, and it can really give a broad overview of what's coming up for the month and make sure you've got balanced content and that content's going out.
And so what happens, though, if you don't have enough content, to produce and to get out there? Like, there's other things that you can do, right?
Yeah, you can mix it up. So you can create some beautiful images in Canva and make sure...
Yeah, I think also repurposing content.
Oh, that's right.
So making sure that, you pick up some evergreen content from a couple of months back and slap on a new headline, give it a new image and reshare that. So it doesn't always have to be about, I've got limited time to create all this content. Repurpose, redistribute, reshare, but make sure that you're active on your social channels, because it's a huge, huge, huge SEO signal, and certainly easily overlooked because it doesn't fall under that SEO keyword umbrella.
That's right.
So hopefully you're still all with us and listening, because our 7th point is something that we touched on earlier, but definitely something that needs some more focus on, and that's link building. Just as important as lots of the on-page and SEO that you do in keyword optimization is link building. So with the algorithm changes, which are often with Google, the most recent ones were Penguin and Panda. And Penguin and Panda, beyond just cute animals, definitely focus more on link building and the importance of natural build-up of organic links. And so that results in basically, as we said, really valuable link juice being passed onto your website and boosting it. So, Hayley, to put it quite simply, you could have the exact same website as a competitor or another business, be targeting the same keywords, have the same amount of content, have everything basically set up the same, have all your technical SEO fixes in order, but the site that will rank highest for whatever keyword is the site that has the most valuable links to it. So that just highlights the importance of really good link building. So
is this called white hat SEO?
This is definitely white hat SEO, and this is where, so white hat SEO is best practice SEO.
Oh, great.
So that's about genuine link building and, actually forming real relationships and getting genuine links. On the flip side, there's black hat SEO. Hopefully that's something that's kind of dying away, something that, agencies used to use quite a lot of. Black hat SEO, meant trying to get as many spammy links as possible. I mean, agencies have even been known to bury white font-coloured links in the background of websites, so just to kind of cram in as many links as possible.
Oh, dodgy.
Very dodgy, but with the latest releases, it just doesn't fly with Google. Nothing gets past Google now, so...
Google wants authentic.
Yeah, so you should never, ever, ever build unnatural links. I've known businesses to actually fall off Google for that. That's how bad Google penalizes it. Not to spam, so... don't set up any bots and comment on blog articles via the bot with a link back to your website. I think lots of people see those designer handbag links and that sort of thing out there. It doesn't work, so they're actually harming their site. So basically, you have to strive to gain links in a natural and organic way. And as we said, that can be via blog outreach, so guest blogging, but also, if you can get citations back to your website. For example, if you have stockists, you're stocking, different products, that's a handy way. Honestly, I think that any real relationships, if you can get some attribution back to your website, is a great step to building really, really valuable links, which Google loves. As I said, it can literally be the decider with how Google ranks you with a site that seemingly is identical to yours. The difference is the link profile. And again, I like to use Moz or SEMrush to do kind of a backlink check to see how my competitors are ranking. There's some handy things that you can do to actually understand the links that your competitors are getting and maybe even go after them yourself. That's a really handy strategy so that you're on par with them and then surpass them with your link building. So to dedicate time to that and a strategy around SEO and link building is so valuable.
So do you think you should create a hit list of those to target?
Totally, 100%. And going through them methodically is awesome, even if it's just quarterly, to send an email, to reach out and to see if there's something that, you can maybe do together. It starts as a partnership. Starts with maybe some content sharing and is formalized hopefully with a brand citation or a link back to your website.
So the last point is data analytics. So an effective SEO campaign would not be complete without proper monitoring and analysis of performance data. So there's no point in having a website if you're not understanding the data behind it and the traffic coming through and the channels in which they're coming through. So you can focus your marketing efforts on those particular channels. For example, is your traffic coming from mobile versus desktop? Or is it coming from social? Is it leaned more heavily towards Facebook or Instagram? Or is it your emails that you're sending out through your marketing campaign?
So I think understanding those channels and understanding where your organic traffic is coming from, so organic traffic being the non-paid stuff, which is your SEO traffic, making sure that you have reports set up in analytics so that you're constantly on top of that. And that's basically on top of your SEO, understanding that stuff.
That's right. You can set up custom reports so that they're sent to you into your inbox and you're right in front of your data and understanding it. So you may spend all this time, as we discussed earlier, about writing blog articles, and it's actually very motivating to see traffic coming into those blog articles inspire you to write more.
To write more and to understand that your audience is enjoying that sort of content, and you can create similar content that if your user's liking, no doubt Google is also liking. You can make, get insights really easily as well on keywords that are being searched. Google doesn't always provide all the keyword data that you need, but it gives you a really, really good first step and understanding of your best performing articles and therefore your best performing keywords.
That's right. Also the behavior of where your users are tracking on your website. So where are they clicking first? Where are they clicking last? And what your bounce rate is like. So a good bounce rate would have to be 50%.
Yeah, or less than 50% if you can get it, for sure.
For sure. So, understanding where users are tracking and
I think, the bounce rate, just to quickly touch on that point as well, Hayley, is that, Google takes a bounce rate as a very direct signal that they're not showing, or or they're not showing the right content for the keyword. So sites with a high bounce rate, when someone's come from a specific keyword in Google, indicates to Google that perhaps that isn't the right content that they should be showing for the keyword. So all of these metrics really come into play. So understanding them and being able to improve on them, the insight that you need to make adjustments to get better results for your SEO.
Yeah, and you can put your marketing efforts into areas of your
website where, you potentially need them.
That's right.
So hopefully that gives you a really good overview of all of the different elements that go into ranking your website on Google. It's so much more and far beyond just getting a keyword list together and popping in some keywords into a blog. Unfortunately, it is. It's a little bit more strenuous and requires a little bit more commitment from you. But that doesn't mean that it can't be done. That definitely not. You can't just click your fingers and appear at the top of Google. No, that actually hasn't happened to you to date, and there's a reason for that. There's a reason why, you're listening to this masterclass today. You want to learn more. You want to know how to actually get your website ranking, and we wanted to give you a really great overview of all of the different elements that do go into that. And now it's up to you, really.
That's right. So if you're prepared to put in a little bit of time, commitment, and energy, we've got a fantastic SEO workshop that's designed just for you.
So I think it's a good taste tester to see if you actually do have the commitment. We already know that you can do it because we've set up, videos and really actionable items that are really, really easy for you to implement. So we'll take care of letting you know how to do it. It's just whether or not you want to do it and if you're prepared to give the time that's required to get your website ranking. To me personally, Hayley, if you've already invested in your website and you've invested time into listening to this masterclass, you're already curious, why not take it a step further and action that and set yourself a challenge? See if you can actually, start to get your website ranking and bringing in more visitors and leads. You've already invested in a website. What is it doing if it's not bringing in leads for you?
And who knows, you may actually learn a thing or two.
Maybe.
For ongoing in the future. So this doesn't just apply to now. When Google change, go through the next algorithm, the next algorithm change, you'll be up to speed in making those changes for your website.
Even if you're not wanting to action the steps yourself, as we covered, there's quite a few technical aspects, but you want to make sure that anyone that you employ working for you, is basically not pulling the wool over your eyes, whether that be an agency or a web developer. Hopefully we've given you an overview in terms of kind of knowing the right questions to ask and the different elements that do go into SEO. We hope that we've empowered you because that's what we've set out to do and what our whole mission of ID Digital is. It's up to you now whether you take that a step further and you want to know beyond kind of just the names of the different elements and what should be included and getting your rolling up your sleeves and getting your hands dirty and actually starting to make some changes to your website, optimizing it and getting it ranking. I've seen and we have seen so many business owners put all of these learnings into action for awesome results. And we've just got here, some of the testimonials of some of the brilliant ladies that we have been working with who we've seen really commit, and we've been so excited and proud of the results that they've achieved. All starting with a simple challenge like our SEO workshop and actioning some of the things, and then moving into some of our larger paid courses where you get a breakdown. We won't just give you an overview of this is what you should or shouldn't be doing. This is the great thing that, I have the marketing and content perspective, and Hayley offers the actual fixes.
That's right. Yeah. So we can break it down into simple terms so that you can action it easily and
circle back and
Yeah.
lots of support.
That's
Because we don't want to be some type of big corporate course where you sign up and then you never do it. We're there every step of the way, encouraging you and making you accountable, checking in. We've got a brilliant Facebook community. If you wanted to check it out, it's Facebook groups/I Do Digital. So you can jump in there. And then with every course that we actually have private customized groups where, everyone in there is so delightful and chatting. And so if you're interested in our free SEO workshop, which we really hope that you at least stop by and taste test and see if it's for you, the link's right here. And it's free, completely free. And you have instant access right away. So basically go to the link, put in your details, and you'll get all the content straight away. It's that easy.
And you can join our private Facebook group where Karina and you'll have access to. And we'll be doing lots of Facebook Live videos. So, we're there for support and for guidance along the way, which is hugely valuable in itself.
Even if you're not up for the workshop right now, the free workshop, completely fine. It's there anytime that you want it. So feel free to just even leave your details and, you can log back in whenever you're ready. Or if you just have some questions from our masterclass today, completely fine. Pop over to our Facebook group at the link here. Please, we'd love to have you and ask us anything that you might need about SEO and even beyond that. Obviously, Hayley has experience as a WordPress developer, and we both have some great knowledge just on some general digital marketing, and we're passionate about business as well. So even if it's just some general business tips on strategy, please ask away and we'll do what we can to assist you, because that's what we love to do. And
we love to serve.
We love to serve, and we're just so happy that this has now, become our main business, and this is what we get to do 24/7, because it is that. We put in the effort to make the gains, and that's what we want to see from you as well. So please sign up, ask away any questions, and we hope that you've enjoyed this masterclass and there's been at least a couple of takeaways for you about how to get your site ranking in Google.